Alright troops, how's it going? Welcome to Affordable Watching episode 4. This is the weekly updates that I do on my journey in collecting and using affordable watches. Now you can tell what episode it is thanks to this wonderful board, and I think for future episodes I could probably even do a little menu of what I'm going to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about today is my Seconda. You will notice I've fixed the chronograph features, and I've picked the worst time to try and actually show you this because the hands are in the way. If you'll notice in the previous videos, the hands were at slightly different points. These have now been fixed. I got round to fixing it, and I'm really pleased because now I love it more than ever. It's definitely something that I wouldn't probably say took any effort. It's simply a case of taking the back off, popping the movement out, removing the hands, popping them back on the right place, and away you go. 5 minutes, but I finally got round to actually doing it. So I'm really pleased. The other watch, the Seiko, well, I say it's not a Seiko, the watch build I did that eventually got a Seiko dial, has another dial on its way, and that's going to be arriving in the next few days. So I have no reason to fix that one until that arrives, and then I can put it on. But I did take the hand off to put back on to practice how I was going to do it. I found a different technique of doing it, and I think that'll work better for me. The other watch that I've got, that I built, the wedding watch, that has a second hand on the way as well, so I can also add that as well. I mentioned previously I didn't want it before, but now I want it back. So in updates, 1 watch fixed, 2 watches to fix, and 2 watches on the way. And we are not, I'm not going to give you too many spoilers, but what I am going to say is they pushed the boundaries of being affordable. Oh, there are 2 watches that I really wanted. One of them is actually, I would say, considerably affordable, but I have had to get an additional piece for it, and that's because I have had quite a bit of experience in what happens with affordable watches, and I might even have something I can show. Let's just have a look. One moment, I will be right back. Haha, we're back, and we have this. Now this is a Rosra quartz. This is a nasty, horrible, cheapy watch, and this is what I think probably when most people think of buying a watch from a Chinese e-commerce website you're going to get. So what do you get with this? Well, anyone who knows anything knows that's a horrible sounding class. Just, oh, it's tragic. I think I paid a couple of pounds including postage, and we are talking at least 15 years ago. I still lived at home. You'll notice there are chronograph features. They are completely false. Completely. There is the movement in this is your standard common or garden cheap as chips movement. But I'm not interested in the watch. I actually have got quite a few of these style Rosra, Orlando. They were the big names at the time of the cheapy watch movement. And because I've owned this, I'm very reluctant to ever buy cheap watches on a metal bracelet. I immediately think if it's going to be cheap, they'll have put all the money into this and thought of this as an afterthought. So the watch that's coming has got a, well, 2 of them have got metal bracelets, but one of them I don't think is going to be good. I've got a feeling the second one, which I paid quite a lot of money for, will no doubt have a good one, because I've seen people give these things good reviews. Not this. That's an absolute piece of crap. But the overall of the second one that's the slightly cheaper, that's the one I'm worried about. So we've got an additional thing coming. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was something I've also held for about 15 years. And you may have heard the term Frankenwatch or a Mumbai special. And they are watches that are basically Citizens, Seikos, what have yous, that have been bodged together with little bits. Now, I have 3 of them. I'm going to show you the third one later. So these are 2 that I own. Now, they're Citizen automatics. They have, I think it's Arabic on the dials, but they also do have it in English. Now, I have worn these on straps, and I've not been that keen. I don't particularly like the square face, the watches themselves. They held time well. This one has very recently had an issue with its crown, so I'm going to have to try and get that. Well, do I want to fix it? That's the problem. But this one does still work. And of the 2, I do quite like this. So I am umming and ahhing about getting it restrapped and sort of taking it apart, giving it a good polish. The problem is it used to have something that would have gone there that did say Citizen. Now that's obviously come off with age, and I don't particularly like that it's there. If anything, the smart man would think about the opportunity of removing this face and movement and putting it in this case. However, this has, you can't really see it on the camera, but they have both evidently had very hard lives. So these are 2 little projects that have sat in a drawer for years, and I've just never quite found what I wanted to do with them. But they did come with a third watch, and I bought them all individually. I can't remember what I paid, and I guarantee it will have been about £10 a watch. But then this one came, and this one I really like. Now I'm going to tell you why. If I say to you that this is a poor man's Tissot PRX, ooh, how, it's not a PRX, but it looks like a P. It's got the same shape. Now this is a very unusual watch because it's on a Citizen watch with a Casio band. Now the Casio that was attached to this has long since perished, and the strap that initially was on has also long since perished. But I liked this Casio strap. I don't like Casio watches. That's a story for a different day, when I'm going to talk about very, very, very controversial watch opinions. But I really don't like Casios. But I do like this band, and it fits very, very well. So here we have a watch. It's not running because I've not charged it. But this was a Mumbai special. Now, noticing the rather large filled out glass, it caught me that this is a very, very pretty thing. I like the fact that the dial and the case are the same colour. It sort of merges into one. It is just a sea of silver. But I really, really like this. But obviously, if you were to take this to any watch specialist and say, yeah, without the strap in place, what would you do on this? They'd probably look and go, well, absolutely nothing. Because it's a Frankenstein. It's just bits and pieces that have all been thrown together. Dials that fit movements which fit cases with new glass, and there you go. But I really like this. And I don't like the Tissot PRX. Now, I don't like that because everybody seems to have one. Everybody raves about it. It's a little bit out of my price range of what I'd call affordable. But I'd still never buy one because that's a lot of money to spend on something that everybody's got. As a chap at my work who's got one, and it's a nice looking thing. But I prefer this because this is my version of a Tissot PRX, and it's a lot rarer because I've not really been able to find too much about this. I can find stuff about the case and a rough sort of the dial, but this seems to be a bit of a one-on-one. So, would you buy a Mumbai watch? That is the question. And that's something I'd like you to answer in the comments below. Have you ever bought one of these Mumbai specials on, it's usually eBay. Have you bought one? Would you buy one? What was yours like? At the moment, this one works perfectly. And I am going to get it a better strap, I think. I think something more... This is a Casio one that's very, very beaten up. And I'd quite like to get rid of, the Casio. And put something nicer on it. But the thing you've got to bear in mind is, these Mumbai watches were all over eBay back in the day. And I mean, you couldn't go through eBay without these Citizens, Orients, Seikos all popping up. And they were just everywhere. Now, I can't find them. I really struggle to find them. And I think it's because eBay have cottoned on a lot of people buying these watches from India. I don't think people would be very happy. Because ultimately you are buying a watch that hasn't been put together in a sterile lab in Switzerland. It has been built in a workshop in India, and as a result you're getting a second-hand bit of everything being thrown together and, well, hoping that it works. I've struck lucky with this one. It works. I don't think I've struck badly with this one, but it needs work. I think this one was a bit of a bust. I really don't like it now. At the time, I don't actually remember why I bought it. This is the one I probably think I may end up doing parts out. If the parts are transferable to this, then this will be the donor for that. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But I got this, and I'm happy. So that's, as I said, like to pop in the comments, have you ever got a Mumbai special watch, and what was your opinion? Because these were bought very, very long ago, and this one still works. In other news as well, the Square that I had. So the PE90 movement came and was fitted. However, the hands don't go back on. I have no idea why, but since removing from this one to this one, they don't fit. So I'm a little bit unsure now. If I'm honest, I might not fix this. And the reason being is that this feels like it's going to turn into that Rosra. I can already see that it's starting to tarnish, and that's not a good sign because there's no getting back from that. The bracelet is actually quite nice, so I may chop the bracelet up and use it for something else, but I'm not particularly a fan of it now. When I first got it, I was very, very, very keen to get something in blue and gold, and now it just doesn't quite do anything. And that seems really, really odd. But it just doesn't do anything for me now. I've had this watch broken for a while, and I've not looked at it and thought I must do everything I can to get it back. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to chalk that one up to I just can't be bothered to fix it. I have other watches that I would like to get on doing projects with, including that Seiko over there. And yeah, I you've got to learn when to call it a day. So yeah, that's it. But no, for Affordable Watching episode 4, next video you will get is one of the unboxing of whichever watches arrives first. If they both arrive in a short space of time, I'll probably film them and then stagger the release of the second one, just so you're not bombarded with cheap watch reviews. Obviously, the watch box that we got, I've now got some rolls to go in the back of that, so when they arrive, we can start filling that up, and maybe I might make that the new Prestige box, not quite sure, but we'll have a bit of a root around with the watches, and find a way of filling that box with some very good watches. Other than that, though, once these 2 watches arrive, there'll be nothing really till payday, unless something very, very, very cheap and affordable comes up. More or less, we've spent the budget. That's how unaffordable those watches are. The budget I put aside for watches, it's taken it. It's eaten it all. So, boo, sadly. But no, if you like the video, give me a like. If you pop a comment, have you bought an Indian Mumbai special watch? What were your thoughts? And if you'd like to see more affordable watching episode updates and watch reviews and various other bits and pieces, drop me a subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Good night.